Hey guys, it's Jess and I am here with a tag video. This book tag is the this and that tag. I saw quite a few people do it. No one actually tagged me, but I want to do it anyway. So I'm going to do it. We're basically comparing this title to this title. So newest versus oldest, prettiest versus ugliest, so on and ugliest, so on and so forth. So there's 11 questions, so let's get started. The first one is your newest and your oldest book. My newest book is Winter by Marissa Meyer. My lovely boyfriend got this for me after Barnes & Noble didn't have any of them, and I was dying to read it. So he bought it for me and came home with it, and I was super excited. I have already read it. If you haven't read the Lunar Chronicles, do it. It's pretty good. It's got a lot of tropes I dislike in the beginning, but the end of the book really, the end of the series really helped for me. So definitely pick it up. Oldest book, hands down, Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. This poor baby has been through the ringer. Look at this. It has seen better days, but I absolutely love this book. I have read it many, many times, and it will stay on my shelf probably just like this for quite some time. Then we have your biggest and your smallest book. This is by size, not by page number. My biggest book is The Fortune Hunter by Daisy Goodwin. I really love this book. It is a historical fiction about a woman in a very proper home, very rich home, who's not doing what her mother wants her to do. She's doing this and that and the other thing, and no one likes it, but she's going to be her own woman and do it anyway. Really, really enjoy this book. I think it's a great read. And then my smallest book is Dance First, Think Later by Catherine and Ross Petras. It's basically a book full of sayings, just little quotes, I think. So be yourself. Everyone else is already taken. Oscar Wilde. Friends and good manners will carry you where money won't go. Margaret Walker. Just lots of really great ones. I've highlighted the ones I love. I just really, really love this book. I bought it my first week of college after finishing high school. I just really like it. So that's my shortest book. Then we have your biggest number of pages in a book and your smallest number of pages in a book. Hands down, biggest number of pages is this bad boy, Les Mis by Victor Hugo. And this one is 1,232 pages. I haven't read this. I will. Eventually. Sometime before I die, I will read this, but it is such a commitment, and that's why I'm hesitant to do so. I don't know if I could commit that much time to reading a book. It would take forever. But that's this one. My smallest number of pages is No Normal, Miss Marvel No Normal by Wilson and Alfona. I can't pronounce that name. I don't know how many pages this is, but this is definitely my shortest graphic novel. So it wins for my smallest number of pages. Then we have my most expensive and my best bargain. Most expensive is definitely The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. This is a $22 book. I have a tendency to not buy expensive books, so usually I ask for them for gifts. But this one I definitely bought. And horrible thing, I haven't even read it. I was so excited to buy it, and I still haven't read it. Winner of the Pulitzer Prize, so that was the whole reason I got it, because I wanted to purchase some literature that was prize-winning and really renowned and stuff like that. So one of these days I will read it, probably sometime next year. Best bargain, hands down, Book Thief by Markus Zusak. I picked this book up for 70 cents. And it's in really good condition. The worst thing is this edge is a little bent. But other than that, I want to read this book. I want to read this book badly. I hear it's a great historical fiction, and I adore historical fiction. So, I'll probably pick this up sometime next year. Most of these books I'll pick up next year. A lot of these books I haven't read. Most beautiful cover and ugliest cover. My most beautiful cover changes a lot. It's definitely kind of how I'm feeling. I am currently absolutely in love with the winter cover, but this book, The House Girl, a novel by Tara Conklin, definitely wins. Oh, this cover is gorgeous. I love the silhouetting, the beautiful green, all the filigree and the butterflies and whatnot around it. It is beautiful. I love this cover. If I could take out the title and just put this image in a frame, I would do that because I love it that much. My ugliest cover isn't because it's boring or, just plain old ugly, but it makes me feel ugh. When I see the cover, I just get my stomach tightens, my knees go weak. It's just not a pretty cover. The cover makes me feel uncomfortable. I got this book because it was a recommendation from a friend. I tried to start reading it, and I couldn't really get into it, so I was going to wait until I could. Scamp by Jennifer Pashley. Don't 100% know what it's about, other than it's a really creepy read. But the cover just makes me so uncomfortable. I can't. Ugh, I can't. Your favorite book and one you hated. Favorite book, hands down, my favorite book ever is The Mime Order. This is the second in the Bone season, and I love the Bone season. If you have not read the Bone season, what are you doing with your life? Go pick it up. So far, it's 2 books. It is going to be a much larger series. Keep in mind, the first book does take a little while to get into. It's a really big and dense world, so you just got to tough through the first 50 to 60 pages, and I am telling you, it's worth it, because oh my gosh, what happens in this book. I cannot wait for next year. That's when the next one comes out. I'm so excited. So pick up the Bone season, pick up the Mime Order. Last I saw, they were super, super cheap on Book Outlet. So go get them. Totally worth it. And then enjoy the hype with me, because I need someone else in my life who is in love with the Mime Order and the Bone season and the series as a whole. His favorite book, which I'm actually probably going to unhaul here shortly, is The Duff by Cody Keplinger. The Duff stands for The Designated Ugly Fat Friend, and I hated this book. The more I think about the book, the more I hate the book. I don't like it. I feel like it was probably a little too juvenile for me, and that's probably why I didn't like it. No offense to anyone who did like it. I mean, we all change the way we read. We all change what we consume, but I could not stand this book. I could not. So, The Duff, Cody Keplinger, probably my least favorite book that's on my shelf. A book that made you laugh and a book that made you cry. So a book that made me laugh, Yes Please by Amy Poehler. Adored this book. So good. So hilarious. She is so funny. Also, adored the end pages. So pretty. But I've heard that if you read this, that it is highly recommended that you listen to the audiobook, because she reads it and her jokes are just a lot funnier. They really make the read. So if you have it on audiobook, definitely get into it. I read it, physically read it, and it was still hilarious. So, highly recommend. A book that made me cry. If you've been here for a while, you know, books don't make me cry. I rarely to never cry. I've only ever cried once, and that was Winger by Andrew Smith. If you've read this book, I don't want to spoil it for you. If you haven't, there's something that happens at the end that just tore me apart. I had to take a moment before I picked it. Usually I finish a book, I write my review, and I get right into the next one. I couldn't. I needed a day or two to recover from what happened in this book. I didn't even know that I loved the character that much. Turns out I did. Maybe it was just the act itself, but this book made me cry. And I have Standoff right here. It's on my to be read by the end of the year list. But oh my gosh, this book is so sad. Next is a book that warmed your heart and a book that made you shiver. Book that warmed my heart, I've read this twice. Rereads are rare for me, so this is a big deal. Water for Elephants by Sarah Gruen. This book warms my heart every time I read it. The dual stories of the past and the present. Oh my gosh, this book. I love it. I absolutely love it. I highly recommend it. If you have not read it, pick it up. It is so good. It is historical fiction about a man who travels with the circus, I believe during the Great Depression. It is amazing. It's amazing. Pick it up. It's so good. A book that made me shiver. Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn. Oh my gosh, there were so many times in this book where I felt uncomfortable reading. I just, the vivid detail, all of it just, it made me so uncomfortable. I did really enjoy it though. I read it this month. I'll have it in my wrap up and I'll do a quick recap review. But definitely a book that made me uncomfortable. The next question is a book you can't wait to read and a book that you've put off. A book I can't wait to read, Illuminae by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. Oh my gosh, I've heard so many amazing things. I love the format of this book. I adore the cover of this book. The jacket and the way the cover works is just super cool in my opinion. Really, really cool. But I just like the idea, the kind of format of the book. I hear it's like reading a file, but a story through a file. So it sounds super cool. Cannot wait to read this. This will be read by the end of the year. Currently it's between this one and one of the Throne and Glass books on which I'm going to read next. But probably leaning towards this one. We'll see. A book I've put off is The Queen of the Tearling by Erica Johansson. The reason I put this off is I read Red Queen, Throne of Glass, and I think one other one. And then a friend of mine told me that this is just like those. A girl in the lower class kind of thrives and comes up, and I couldn't read it again. I could not read the story again. It was going to drive me crazy if I had to read the same plot. So I'm saving this probably for later next year when I have some distance from those first books. I have both. I have this one and the second one. So eventually I'll read it, but for now I'm definitely putting it off. The next is a book you want more people to read, and a book that wasn't as good as you expected. A book I want more people to read was one I already talked about. The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. I feel like this book does not get as much praise as it deserves. It is so good, and I feel like everyone should know how good it is, so pick it up. Everyone should pick this up. I will forever recommend this book to everyone because it is that good. A book I didn't really like, a book that I was disappointed in, All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. I did not like this book. It is still on my shelf because I am going to read it again. I'm going to give it another try. Maybe there was something I missed. Maybe I just didn't get into it. Don't get me wrong, the story was fine. The story was alright. But I didn't love the book. Everyone loved this book. I wasn't into it. I was not impressed. Then we have the next book you want to read and the next book you're unhauling. So, the next book I want to read, like I said, there's a couple. I keep my to-be-reads right here. Illuminae was up here, as well as I Am Malala. I have actually talked about this book a couple times in my past few videos, and I'm thinking I might pick it up. There's Illuminae, there's Throne of Glass, there's I Am Malala. I am in a nonfiction kick, so this might be what I pick up next. I might try to start reading Illuminae and not get into it. Who knows? This, I think, is going to be a super quick read for me. I have a habit of consuming nonfiction like that. It'll take me 2 to 3 days to read a nonfiction book, especially a biography, autobiography. I love them. Any kind of memoir I adore. Just absolutely love them. The next book I'm unhauling isn't actually a book I own. It's a book I'm borrowing, and that is Silverborn by Patricia Briggs. This is the 5th in the Mercy Thompson series. If you're not familiar, the Mercy Thompson series is a urban fantasy about Mercy Thompson, who's a shapeshifter among werewolves, vampires, fae. It's pretty good. You know, it's an urban fantasy, so at times it seems a little smutty because that's what they are. But overall, I really adore the series. I consume these books super quick. I started this yesterday, actually. And I'm 146 pages into 290. I will finish this book today, hands down, no problem. So I really enjoy them. They're quick, they're easy, and they're pretty cheap books. So you can buy them at Barnes & Noble for $8. You can probably get them on Amazon for like $5. I would recommend them if you like urban fantasy and you like that kind of easy to consume plot. They're definitely not dense books, but they're enjoyable. They're fun to read. So, there we go. There is my this and that tag. If you want to do this tag, do it. I tag you. It's done. If you just want to answer a few questions, maybe you don't do book 2, you don't actually put videos up, answer a few down below in the comments. Tell me what is your prettiest cover and your ugliest cover. Or how about your favorite and your least favorite? I like that question. I always want to know what people's favorite books are. Because it gives me a good reason to buy more books and read. So, let me know down below. I've also put who I tagged down below. So, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye! Ah! Had a bit of an accident.